Saturday morning, October 7th, 2023. The sun hasn't had time to shine yet when great darkness descended on Israel. Rays of light brings the stories of the heroic women from the day the earth was painted red.
Alina Master.
We bought the tickets to the party 6 months in advance. I drove there with 3 friends and we had the best time. Everyone was dancing and enjoying themselves and we were really at our peak. Suddenly, the DJ went off stage, the music stopped. Someone came up to the stage with a megaphone and said, "Red alert, the party is over. Evacuate fast." Everyone started running. The rockets were like raindrops. A bit to the right, a bit to the left. You don't know where they'll hit. At this stage, we understand that it won't help us to lay flat with our hands covering our heads. That's not what's happening. We have to get out of there, fast. In a split-second decision, I got into Limor Vaknin's car and not with the friend who I had come to the party with. It was against my instinct, but the minute she asked me to come with her, it was clear to me that she wouldn't drive off alone. Each of us gets into the car and we start to drive. The rockets were whistling overhead. At this stage, Limor gets scared as well and says, "Let's stop at the portable shelter." We just managed to get into the shelter and boom, a rocket hits the car. Debris flies into the shelter and I'm hit in the right leg. And we think that's it. We survived. I mean, wow, what a miracle just happened to us. 2 minutes later, 2 guys came into the shelter. They're bleeding, very frightening, Gal and Sefi. They say that their car was hit by a rocket and they suffered shrapnel wounds. We welcome them as if it's our home. It's okay. You're in a safe place. There's blood, but you'll survive. As I'm speaking, I don't remember if it was Gal or Sefi. I think it was Sefi. He put a finger to his mouth and motioned to me to be quiet. Within a second, many pickup trucks go by. Motorcycles with non-stop automatic gunfire. And we understand, without knowing what's happening outside, the terrorists are going from shelter to shelter and they're just shooting the people inside. And we hear steps. We understand that someone is coming inside, that it's a terrorist. Me, at this stage, I'm totally out of me, with my face to the wall, unable even to look. Suddenly I hear Sefi and Gal screaming, just running towards them. With bare hands, they just rush them and push them outside the shelter. I don't know how they had the courage. They just looked at each other and coordinated with their eyes. And we hear the automatic gunfire. And then the screaming stops. We understand that they're no longer alive. We are trembling in fear. We realize that now the terrorists will come into the shelter and shoot us. But he doesn't come in. It seems that Gal and Sefi, while rushing him, made him think that they were there alone. Limor and I continue to hug each other. I'm holding her more, and she has her arms wrapped around me. And then we hear footsteps again. This time we understand that this is the end, that's it. And the terrorist comes in, points the weapon at us and just shoots 4 bullets at point-blank range. I feel a hard, crazy boom, and it feels like as if he just shot through me. In my understanding, I'm dead. Later, I understood that At this stage, I lost consciousness, and that a grenade has also been thrown at us. Limor, who was severely injured, thought that I had died, and with her last bit of strength, texts to her family. There are terrorists outside. I can't speak. I'm absolutely terrified. Tell everyone that I love them. They murdered everybody. They threw a grenade at us. I'm bleeding to death. An hour later, I regained consciousness and discovered that Limor was no longer alive. Again, I hear footsteps. I just hold my breath. I understand that if I want to appear dead, I have to be with my eyes open because Limor had her eyes open. The terrorists came in, and I think that the sight of the grenades and Limor's body, and that I'm bleeding from my head and back, convinced him that he has nothing more to do in this shelter. And he exits. He doesn't confirm the kill. He just goes out and stays outside the shelter, as if he's waiting for a lift and smoked a cigarette. And I hear him getting into the pickup trucks, and they drive away. 5 hours later, I hear the words, engaged, and I hear the words, is there anyone here alive? And I answer quietly, me, because I'm scared, and I don't know if it's the right thing to answer or not. I look at their faces and see they're 3 handsome soldiers with kind eyes. I say to them, do I need to run? And they stand there, the 3 of them around me, and say, no, you need to walk at our pace. I lift my head and I get a glimpse of the road. And the road is littered with bodies. There's so much that I don't know. I don't know why I survived while others didn't. But I know that a small part of what I can do is to talk about it. To talk about heroism shown by Sefi and Gal, about Limor's hug, about the soldiers who came to save me at 12:35 while there were still battles being fought outside. All of these are God's own angels. They saved me. Without them, my story would have ended there.
Saturday morning, October 7th, 2023. The sun hasn't had time to shine yet when great darkness descended on Israel. Rays of light brings the stories of the heroic women from the day the earth was painted red.
Alina Master.
We bought the tickets to the party 6 months in advance. I drove there with 3 friends and we had the best time. Everyone was dancing and enjoying themselves and we were really at our peak. Suddenly, the DJ went off stage, the music stopped. Someone came up to the stage with a megaphone and said, "Red alert, the party is over. Evacuate fast." Everyone started running. The rockets were like raindrops. A bit to the right, a bit to the left, you don't know where they'll hit. At this stage, we understand that it won't help us to lay flat with our hands covering our heads. That's not what's happening. We have to get out of there, fast. In a split-second decision, I got into Limor Vaknin's car and not with the friend who I had come to the party with. It was against my instinct, but the minute she asked me to come with her, it was clear to me that she wouldn't drive off alone. Each of us gets into the car and we start to drive. The rockets were whistling overhead. At this stage, Limor gets scared as well and says, "Let's stop at the portable shelter." We just managed to get into the shelter and boom, a rocket hits the car. Debris flies into the shelter and I'm hit in the right leg. And we think that's it. We survived. I mean, wow, what a miracle just happened to us. 2 minutes later, 2 guys came into the shelter. They're bleeding, very frightening, Gal and Sefi. They say that their car was hit by a rocket and they suffered shrapnel wounds. We welcome them as if it's our home. It's okay. You're in a safe place. There's blood, but you'll survive. As I'm speaking, I don't remember if it was...
Welcome, everybody. We are so happy. We're so glad to see so many people here. If you have an empty seat next to you that does not have a reserve sign, could you please raise your hand? And if you are standing up, could you please try and take one of those seats? We also have overflow seating across the hall in the Glazer boardroom. So we want to try and get the seats filled up. So seriously, I see seats next to you. So you have a seat next to you, please raise your hand. And if we can start filling in some of those seats, and then we're going to ask people who are standing up if we can move people over to the Glazer boardroom. There'll be a live stream and you'll get to see everything from there.
With bare hands, they just rushed them and pushed them outside the shelter. I don't know how they had the courage. They just looked at each other and coordinated with their eyes. And we hear the automatic gunfire. And then the screaming stops. We understand that they're no longer alive. We are trembling in fear. We realize that now the terrorists will come into the shelter and shoot us. But he doesn't come in. It seems that Gal and Sefi, while rushing him, made him think that they were there alone. Limor and I continue to hug each other. I'm holding her more, and she has her arms wrapped around me. And then we hear footsteps again. This time we understand that this is the end, that's it. And the terrorist comes in, points the weapon at us and just shoots 4 bullets at point-blank range. I feel a hard, crazy boom, and it feels like as if he just shot through me. In my understanding, I'm dead. Later, I understood that At this stage, I lost consciousness, and that a grenade has also been thrown at us. Limor, who was severely injured, thought that I had died, and with her last bit of strength, texts to her family. There are terrorists outside. I can't speak. I'm absolutely terrified. Tell everyone that I love them. They murdered everybody. They threw a grenade at us. I'm bleeding to death. An hour later, I regained consciousness and discovered that Limor was no longer alive. Again, I hear footsteps. I just hold my breath. I understand that if I want to appear dead, I have to be with my eyes open because Limor had her eyes open. The terrorists came in, and I think that the sight of the grenades and Limor's body, and that I'm bleeding from my head and back, convinced him that he has nothing more to do in the shelter. And he exits. He doesn't confirm the kill. He just goes out and stays outside the shelter, as if he's waiting for a lift and smoked a cigarette. And I hear him getting into the pickup trucks, and they drive away. 5 hours later, I hear the words, engaged, and I hear the words, is there anyone here alive? And I answer quietly, me, because I'm scared, and I don't know if it's the right thing to answer or not. I look at their faces and see they're 3 handsome soldiers with kind eyes. I say to them, do I need to run? And they stand there, the 3 of them around me, and say, no, you need to walk at our pace. I lift my head and I get a glimpse of the road. And the road is littered with bodies. There's so much that I don't know. I don't know why I survived, while others didn't. But I know that a small part of what I can do is to talk about it. To talk about heroism shown by Sefi and Gal, about Limor's hug, about the soldiers who came to save me at 12:35 while there were still battles being fought outside. All of these are God's own angels. They saved me. Without them, my story would have ended there.
if we could have everyone's attention, we're going to get started in a minute. And just a friendly reminder, if everyone could please silence your cell phones, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. And good evening, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jamie Miller.
I'm Ilana Karen.
And I'm Missy Barnett.
And tonight we are the co-chairs. As we gather tonight, we come together to share in our heartbreak and to find strength in one another. This evening, we pause to remember, to honor, and to reflect. The journey that has led us here is one marked by grief, a profound reminder of the deep bonds we share, and the horror of October 7th, 2023. Our hearts remain with the hostages still in Gaza and their families as we reflect on where we stood on that day and where we find ourselves now.
I want to express my deepest gratitude to every one of you for being here as a community this evening. Your presence shows the strength and solidarity we share. As you see in the program, there are over 30 organizations co-sponsoring this gathering. We are grateful to the diverse community that worked so hard to make tonight possible.
Tonight's ceremony will begin with grief. We will share the tragedy of October 7th through video, poem, song, and prayer. After Kaddish, in the middle of the program, we will turn our hearts and minds to hope. We will hear messages of resilience from members of our community and from our Israeli emissaries. Let tonight be a testament to our collective courage and embrace of the hope that lies ahead.
Good evening. First of all, thank you to Jamie, Melissa, and Alana. I'm so grateful to you and your committee. I know how hard you worked to make this evening so meaningful for our community, and I'm honored to be part of it. My name is Judy Corin, and I'm the board chair of the Milwaukee Jewish Federation. And I'd first like to wish you all a Shana Tova, a sweet and peaceful new year. When we gathered as a community on October 9th, 2023, there was little time to plan. This necessitated our resourceful Milwaukee Jewish Federation staff and our inspiring local clergy to quickly put their heads together to enable us to unite as we did in solidarity. This year, we had the opportunity to collaborate with lay leaders from across the breadth and depth of our Milwaukee Jewish community to plan for this event. We asked each of our co-sponsors organizations to send volunteers to work on our community commemoration. The community that gathered put their hearts, souls, and time into creating the powerful exhibits and the impactful ceremony that we will experience together tonight. I am moved to be here tonight with our community as we commemorate the destruction, devastation, and heartbreak of October 7th and the strife that happened in its wake. Today, we not only honor those who were brutally murdered and remember those whose lives are forever changed, but we again stand together in unity as a community. We strive to bring one another strength and comfort. The unity of the Jewish people is evident in this room tonight. Now more than ever, it is critical for the Jewish community to join together as one. Together, as one, we mourn and share the deep pain we feel from the events of October 7th. Together, as one, we stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel, offering unwavering support and praying for their peace, security, and safety. And together as one, we must also hold on to hope. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks said, "There's always hope. You can lose everything else in the world, but Jews never lose hope." As we gather tonight in a time of uncertainty, we reaffirm our commitment to work together to strengthen our community here in Milwaukee, Israel, and around the world. While we face these difficult times, we must continue to hold on to hope, for it is through unity and action that we can help shape a better future. I'd like to take a moment now to thank all elected officials and candidates who are here supporting our community today. Please stand so we can acknowledge you. Now it is my sincere honor to introduce a video message from Governor Tony Evers, the 46th governor of the state of Wisconsin. He is a dedicated and vocal friend to the Jewish community and a strong supporter of Israel. He is also a fierce advocate of education. As an educator, Governor Evers knows things like hate and bigotry are not innate, but taught, and that they must be unlearned through education. Governor Evers has governed with strong values, using his position to influence and support policy like Wisconsin Act 30, which mandates lessons on the Holocaust and genocide be incorporated into the social studies curriculum for Wisconsin students grades 5 through 12. Governor Evers and his wife Kathy celebrated Hanukkah last year and took the opportunity to address the historic rise in anti-Semitism here in Wisconsin and across the United States. He called on us to stand united against hate in all its form and urged children to embrace curiosity instead of prejudice. Since he could not be here today, he sent along a video message. I deeply value his support for our community and his fight against hate and intolerance. Let's watch.
Hey there, folks. Governor Tony Evers here. I regret that I am unable to be there with you in person today, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this event as we recognize the anniversary of the attacks that unfolded on October 7th. I want to thank the Milwaukee Jewish Federation for the critically important role you play in supporting Wisconsin's Jewish community, both in Milwaukee and across our state. I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done together these past 5 years and look forward to our continued work in the days and years ahead. Like folks across the world, 1 year ago today, we were horrified to bear witness to Hamas terrorist attacks against the Israeli people that left more than 1,200 people dead and over 250 individuals taken hostage. And now, 1 year out later, we continue to be horrified by the many who have not been returned in an ongoing loss of innocent life, many of whom are caught in the middle of a war in which they have no part. I also continue to be concerned about the impacts of this conflict here at home, which we can see play out every day through the rise of hateful rhetoric and violence we've seen in Wisconsin and across the country. For example, according to a report from the Federation, the number of reported anti-Semitic incidents in our state has increased for the 8th consecutive year last year, marking a cumulative increase of 570% since 2015. It is also indicated that there was a 13% increase in reported anti-Semitic incidents between 22 and 23, including a 257% increase in harassment and assaults. And about a third of the incidents directly targeting Jewish institutions in Wisconsin last year occurred after the attack on October 7th. Just last year, Nazis marched in the shadow of the People's House, just feet away from where I'm sitting. I was swift to condemn their repulsive presence and rhetoric, and I will continue to speak out in the strongest terms possible to ensure hate has no refuge here in our state. We are home to and proud of our strong and resilient Jewish and Muslim communities. And there's no doubt this past year has been exceedingly difficult as so many are worried and afraid for their safety, as well as the safety of loved ones and friends, both near and far. The trauma of the last year has become a daily reality for so many. But that is what we're here to address today, to reflect on the undeniable toll and cost of this conflict over the last year, to share our hope for the future, and recognize the role each of us plays in building the future we want to see for our state, our nation, and our world. We must be united in working to end hateful, radical rhetoric and ideology that begets violence against any person or group because of their ethnicity, faith, creed, or any other reason. That must be our common cause and focus. No matter what our background, faith, ethnicity, or creed, kindness, respect, and empathy and compassion must continue to be values that define us and unite us. My thoughts are with all of you as you gather on this anniversary and mourn the many lives lost, the many more impacted, and those for whom we hope and pray every day for the safe return home. Thank you for the important work you have done and will continue to do. I know that you have a partner in me in the work we must do together to build a stronger, more welcoming, and safer state for every person who calls Wisconsin home. Thank you.
Around 10:20 a.m., the few armed terrorists infiltrated the house of her parents-in-law in Kibbutz Be'eri, and they started to pull them out of the house. They took Yarden and Alon, her husband, and their daughter Geffen, put them inside a stolen Mitsubishi. They also took one of the neighbors and put him in the trunk. Then they just started driving towards Gaza. Yarden and Alon and Geffen were left in the car, the still driving car, with an unarmed driver. So they decided, in a split of a second decision between them, to jump off the moving car before it's crossed the borders and to run for their lives. Then was holding Geffen in her arms and just jumping out and starting to run away towards a small forest in that area. The terrorists noticed them, started to run after them, shooting at them, and Yarden understood that she cannot run fast enough in order to save Geffen, so she just gave Geffen to Alon so he would be able to run fast enough and hide. He found a hiding spot and stayed there with Geffen for over 12 hours, without food, without water, complete silence. And in the morning of the 8th, we got a phone call, and Alon was on the line, and he told us that he and Geffen survived and they are healthy, but he doesn't know what happened with my sister. The last time he saw her, she was hiding behind a tree to shield herself from the bullets. The trackers came back with the conclusion that Yarden was recaptured and taken again.
We will now recognize 14 of the communities and locations that were attacked on October 7th. The impact of October 7th was felt in so many places. We have chosen these 14 to be representative of the entire Gaza envelope. Each community is represented on the map with a kalanit, a red flower that grows in the Gaza envelope. We have asked 14 representatives from across the community to help us grieve and to remember.
My name is Rebecca Fine. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Kfar Aza.
My name is Lori Fisher. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Kerem Shalom.
my name is Jonah Geller. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Nir Oz.
My name is Chagit Aslak. We honor and remember the victims of October 7, 2023. Today I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Nirim.
My name is Etty Goldman. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I'm commemorating the atrocities that happened at Cholit.
My name is Izzy Shack. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Kisufim.
My name is Donna Kleiner. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Magen.
My name is Alex Zobacheva. We honor and remember victims of October 7, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Nir Yitzhak.
My name is Daryl Modine. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Nahal Oz.
My name is Mark Levy. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Netiv HaAsara.
My name is Einat Oknin. We honor and remember the victims of October 7, 2023. Today I'm commemorating the atrocities that happened at En HaShlosha.
My name is Debbie Gorman. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Yad Mordechai.
My name is Jessica Carpenter. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at Be'eri.
My name is Jane Blossom. We honor and remember the victims of October 7th, 2023. Today, I am commemorating the atrocities that happened at the Nova Festival in Re'im.
We hold the memory of each victim in our hearts. Now we welcome Ophir Amram to the stage to lead us in the mourner's Kaddish.
Please rise and join me with saying the Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברי קראותי, וימליך מלכותי, ויצמח וקנה, ויחיה דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהא שמי רב מבורך עולם על מעל מיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה השלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
ביום, רחל שרנסקי דזינגר. ביום אפשר להפות עוגיות לנשות המילואים. ביום אפשר לשלוח הודעות מחזקות לחברים. ביום אפשר לנחם אבלים. ביום אפשר להשקיע בחיים. אבל בשעות הלילה אין איך להשתיק את המתים. אני שוכבת וליבי ער, ער ודואר. רודף אחרי שברי סיפורים שסופם כבר ידוע, והכל, הכל מרגיש פצוע, פגוע. ואיך אפשר לישון? ואיך אפשר לשקוט? כשאיבדנו לנצח יותר מ1,000 לבבות.
By day, one can bake cookies for the wives of reservists. By day, one can send strengthening messages to friends. By day, one can comfort mourners. By day, one can invest in life. But at night, there is no way to silence the dead. I lie down and my heart is awake, awake and galloping, chasing fragments of stories whose endings are well known, and everything hurts and feels wounded, injured, damaged. And how can one sleep, and how can one be tranquil when we have lost for all eternity more than 1,000 hearts?
The song Achenu is a powerful and poignant piece that speaks to our collective experience of grief and hope. Its lyrics evoke a profound sense of shared connection and compassion, echoing the sentiments of support and solidarity that define our community. The song's title, Our Brothers, reflects the deep bond we share as we stand together in remembrance. Achenu is a heartfelt tribute to the strength we draw from each other and the healing that comes from our unity. We now invite Joel Eckhart to lead us in singing Achenu.
Please join me in singing what has become the anthem of our people, Achenu. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanetunin batzara, batzara uvashivya, haomdim ben bayam uven bayabasha. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanetunin batzara, batzara uvashivya, haomdim ben bayam uven bayabasha. Hamakom yerachem, yerachem alehem, v'yotziem mitzara, lirvacha u'me'afela leora, mishibur ligeula hashta, bagala uvizman kariv. Hamakom yerachem, yerachem alehem, v'yotziem mitzara, lirvacha u'me'afela leora, mishibud ligeula hashta, bagala uvizman kariv. One more time. Tididai, lai, 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 lai. Tididai, lai, lai, lai. Tididai, lai. Tididai, lai, 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 lai. Tididai, lai, 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 hashta, bagala uvizman kariv.
Good evening. We are Amit and Maya, the new Shinshins in Milwaukee. We arrived a month ago and feel privileged to share our experience here this evening. How can we describe the feelings of Israeli teenagers over the past year?
Being an Israeli teenager means personally knowing people who have been kidnapped, injured, or killed by terrorists from various terrorist organizations.
Being an Israeli teenager means flinching at every explosion heard on the street, even when it's clear there's no immediate danger.
Being an Israeli teenager means watching your father, your brother, your friends, or cousins enlist in the army to protect you, knowing that one day it will be your turn, instead of going to college.
Being an Israeli teenager means that heroes you hear about are not from movies, but soldiers who have fallen in battle.
It means seeing good citizens leave their families, close their businesses, and step away from their jobs to serve in the reserves.
It requires, for some extent, building a wall around your heart.
It demanded waiting for hours in endless tension for friends and family to contact you from war zones.
It means remembering every day what has happened and understanding what continues to happen to our brothers and sisters in Gaza.
It means going out to volunteer and help business owners, soldiers, farmers, and security people as much as possible, organizing donations, picking tomatoes, cooking for soldiers, transporting grapes, manning call centers 24/7, all while studying.
It requires choosing in life every day anew.
Being an Israeli Shinshin means loving the country where you grew up and choosing to contribute for another year before your military service.
To represent those feelings of Israeli youth and share them with the Jewish people and the diaspora to which we were sent. On October 7th, the most terrible day of our life, the terrorists aimed not to only kill every person, every Israeli they encountered, including women, children, babies, and elders, but also destroy and halt our joy and desire for life. We must remember and do everything possible to ensure that such thing never happens again. We must learn from it and choose to continue our life as proud and happy Jews and Israelis. That is the best answer for the appalling terrorism.
Natan Zach, one of Israel's greatest poets, once wrote, צריך לזכור כעת שהאושר לא מחייך, שמה שניתן אי פעם לא יילקח לעולם, ושיש לכל זה טעם, גם כשהטעם תם. This means that the moments of joy, the memories, and the hope we have cannot be taken from us. And even when everything seems meaningless and there is no reason to go on, we must seek that meaning. It exists. It is there.
This past March, I participated in the Federation's Solidarity mission to Israel. It was crucial for me to be there in person, to listen, to observe, and to embrace the people, so I didn't hesitate to go. The direct connections we made with our brothers and sisters learning about the events of that Black Sabbath and witnessing the ongoing resilience of the citizens left a lasting impact on me. I returned from Israel feeling uplifted by the strength of those I met. I went to support them, but in the end, they empowered and strengthened me. Here in Milwaukee, many were equally inspired to take action. Today, we're sharing a few of those stories.
Good evening. My name is Nechama Kittner, and I'm a student at Marquette University. This July, I had the opportunity to go to Israel to volunteer for 10 days through Birthright Onward. Uri alone is the owner of Shvil HaSalat, Salad Trail Farms, located in a moshav called Talmei Yosef. His passion for agriculture and love for Israel was clear as he gave a tour of the farm and explained its history. This 15-acre farm was established in 1979 with one mission: to make the desert bloom. Uri had moved to this land when it was just empty desert land, with the hope of fulfilling Ben-Gurion's dream of making the Negev bloom. Just by hearing Uri talk, it was obvious that this farm was his entire life. After October 7th, even though it was extremely dangerous, Uri refused to evacuate from his land. His workers, mostly from Thailand, had all left, leaving Uri to care for the 15 acres himself. The usual daily busloads of tourists and volunteers stopped showing up, and slowly, most of the vegetable greenhouses began to rot due to neglect. Uri told his story of being in the South on October 7th and how he had no communication with his son's family, whose house had been infiltrated by terrorists. He spoke with a shaky voice, stopping every few minutes to drink water to avoid crying. I am so grateful to have been able to help bring this farm back to life and to be able to share Uri's story with you tonight.
On the evening of October 6th, after finishing a shift at the VA ER where I'm a nurse, My sister called with news that missiles were being launched from Gaza into Israel, in numbers far beyond what we were used to hearing. Something about this time felt different. I went to bed that night, but have never woken up from that nightmare. 10 days later, without a plan, I boarded a plane to Israel. After 2 days, I found a group of healthcare workers from the US who had the same idea as me. I was surprised to find that in this group of 25, a number of us had shared Milwaukee roots. Yechiel Klein, a rehab doctor from Waukesha, Ari Rice, a paramedic from Baltimore, and Avi Wardesheim, an EMT, both grew up on the west side of Milwaukee at B'nai Jeshurun. We thought we'd be assigned to hospitals to care for those injured on October 7th or to give exhausted staff some relief. We spent a day at Barzilai Hospital in Ashkelon, but we were soon moved to an army base in the south. We were welcomed warmly, but really no one knew what to do with us. I quickly understood that I wasn't there to heal broken bodies, but instead to tend to the wounded spirits of those around me. We spent our days and nights amongst the platoons of soldiers, many of them barely more than kids, anxiously awaiting their orders to enter Gaza. We shared their meals, sat with them outside the dorms at night, trying in our own way to distract them from the uncertainty and the fear that hung in the air. I was housed in a dormitory with young girls who, in another world, should have been worrying about prom dresses, not war. I listened to them, talked with them, mothered them. I handed out cards made by students from the Jewish day school, and though it seemed like such a small gesture, those cards became some of the most cherished gifts I had to offer. On my last night at the base, I left a card from the MJDS kids on each of the girls' pillows. It was a bittersweet moment for me. There I was, a 51-year-old woman sharing a room during wartime with soldiers who had Hello Kitty pillowcases and stuffed animals brought from home. I returned home after a month. What I thought I could do as a nurse turned out to be a very different mission. I didn't so much as hand out a Tylenol, but I was there, present in a time of chaos and fear, and for many of the Israelis that I met, that was enough.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Jubileer. After the horrifying events of October 7th and beyond, like you, my wife Shelley and I were searching for a way to help Israel. At our age, we weren't sure that we actually could help, and we didn't know where to start. Then, quite by accident, we discovered the Israeli organization Sarel, the National Project for Volunteers for Israel. In January, we applied to the program. In mid-March, we were on our way to Israel as volunteers to the IDF. We served 1 week at Hatzarim, Israel's largest Air Force base, located in the desert near Beersheba, packaging food for Pesach, basically seders in a box that were sent to the soldiers. And 1 week at Tel HaShomer in Tel Aviv, sorting and packaging medical supplies for hospitals and medics. We were joined by people from 9 different countries, Jews and non-Jews alike, ranging in age from 30 to 80. Any work that we did, soldiers did not have to do. The experience was emotional and fulfilling beyond our expectations. On day 1, we were issued IDF uniforms, and the volunteers were immediately unified as we were all committed to a common cause. We looked like each other, and we looked like the soldiers on the base. We were proud and emotional at flag raising as we stood at attention, raised the Israeli flag, then sang Hatikva. On one special evening, we were taken, quote, inside the envelope to join soldiers who had just returned from Gaza. We were in a huge tent where soldiers had the chance to get a home-cooked meal and decompress upon their return. Having the opportunity to join with them and speak with them was an experience that we'll never forget. While our contribution to the war effort was negligible, for us, the experience was beyond meaningful. It also demonstrated quite clearly that you're never too old to set an example for your children. Thank you.
ושלום שנגמרים מבחוץ מתחילים מבפנים. אמר יודע שיותר מאויבים זו רק החלטה אם להיות אנשים. לב שנפתח חזק אל העולם ידע שאדם תמיד זה אותו אדם. לב שנפתח ומתחבר ידע שהנצח שוב לא ישקר. ואם אתה עם ישראל, אתה עם ישראל, איך אהבת חינם עולה כל כך ביוקר, והילדים שלך הם הילדים שלנו, ואהבתך תאיר כל יום אותנו. לבחור צד, תמיד לבחור יחד, גם כשאתה לבד. אמר שומע זעקות לעזרה, והוא המלאך בין הטוב והרע. לב שנפתח אל העולם ידע שאדם תמיד זה אותו אדם. לב שנפתח ומתחבר ידע שהנצח שוב לא ישקר. ואם אתה עם ישראל, אתה עם ישראל, איך אהבת חינם עולה כל כך ביוקר, והילדים שלך הם הילדים שלנו, ואהבתך תאיר כל יום אותנו. ואם אתה עם ישראל, אתה עם ישראל, איך אהבת חינם עולה כל כך ביוקר, והילדים שלך הם הילדים שלנו, ואהבתך תאיר כל יום אותנו, תאיר כל יום אותנו.
It's good to be together. A year later, it's good to be together, and I just take a look at this program. And for 30 plus organizations to come together and make this happen took a lot in our community, because we all needed to be here as one. This is a very Jewish day. 110 years ago, Henry Morgenthau was a German Jew whose family immigrated here in the late 1860s. And he became the ambassador to the Ottoman Empire. And when World War I started, he saw that the Jews who were in Palestine were suffering because they were cut off from the European community, and they were targeted by the Muslim community around them. And Henry writes a letter to Jacob Schiff, and he says to him and describes the plight of the Jews of Palestine, and he says, I can't do anything with the resources of the State Department, but they need help, they need $50,000. And Jacob Schiff raises $50,000 that month, and that is the birth of the JDC, the American Joint Distribution Committee, which is our American Jewish community's response to Jews in crisis overseas. In 1945, Luba Mintz sends a telegram to Samuel Finkelstein, who was the president of the American Jewish community. And it says 4 words: I live, require help. This was sent in July of 1945, and that month, the JDC office in Warsaw is opened. And the American Jewish community responds, and they open the Save Our Overseas Survivors, the SOS campaign, to not only help them in 45, but in 46 and in 47, a campaign that affected my life because my father's baby's clothes, my grandparents were in a DP camp, those clothes came from Americans who sent it overseas. In 1948, Herb Kohl was bar mitzvahed, and a quote in the Chronicle describes that this 13-year-old boy gave his $230 that he got in bar mitzvah funds to the Jewish Welfare Fund to help those in Milwaukee and those who were in the newly formed state of Israel. Kol Yisrael arevim zeh b'zeh. All of Israel, all Jewish people are responsible for one another. This was true then, and it was true in 73 and 67, and in Acharai missions, in times when we've showed up, because that's what we do. Kol Yisrael arevim zeh b'zeh. Soviet Jewry in the 70s and 80s, we showed up. Bruce Arbit, who I know is in Israel, and Betty Krastowski, who's probably watching, made sure that our community showed up to the rally in 87. I was at that rally, I was 11, and I was part of it. I didn't know anyone from Milwaukee, I was from Cleveland at that moment. But that's what we did, we showed up. In January and February of 91, when Soviet Jewry was allowed to come out, and in a year, basically 1 million people made Aliyah to Israel, we showed up. We came together, and in that same year, in May of 91, when we rescued 15,000 Jewish Ethiopians, Marty Stein of this community made sure it happened. Everything that we do is together in Milwaukee and Israel and around the world, because Kol Yisrael arevim zeh b'zeh. All Jews, all of Israel are responsible for one another. Last year, I stood in front of you on October 9th, and we thought we need to be able to do something. There was no national campaign yet. It was October 9th. But we knew the Victims of Terrorist Fund was already up and running, and so we made an ask for a few minutes, can we raise some money as a community to send it overseas? And that night, we raised $180,000. $180,000. That immediately went to victims of terror. Later, we launched the community-wide Israel Emergency Campaign. And across the 147 Jewish communities across America, we raised $850 million. $850 million. Locally, we raised over $5 million for this effort. Those dollars went for emergency needs in the beginning. It was life-saving stuff. It was food and shelter. It was emergency equipment, lifeline services. Today, we still have nearly 80,000 people from the north who are displaced. We still have people from the south who are displaced. Just last week, we released more dollars to go to the north. But we show up because Kol Yisrael arevim zeh b'zeh. All Jews are responsible for one another. In November, we had 9 days to get ready for a rally in DC. And we didn't know if anybody would want to come, and we showed up with literally a plane full of people. and joined 350,000 people from around the country who are there to stand against anti-Semitism and for the release of hostages. We show up, and we're all responsible for each other. And we do that while still supporting each other here, because we take care of the needs of the Jewish people, and we build a vibrant Jewish future in Milwaukee, Israel, and around the world. And while we had to help everyone in Israel, still we had to make sure that kids go to camp here, that our day schools are running, that our elderly have the ability to age with dignity in homes, that we have mental health support. All of that still has to happen. And that's how we respond. Over the last year, I've heard so much the phrase, I feel alone. We feel alone. Our tradition of being together in this moment and being here for each other isn't since October 7th, 2023. It's not even since 1914. It's a 2,000-year-old mission that if you actually go back, it's a 5,000-year-old mission, because the way we were counted in the desert was by giving a half a shekel to take care of each other. That's what we do. And if we don't give, we show up and we do. You just heard the incredible people who went and they did. I had a mentor who said, Jewish is a team sport. You can't do it alone, and it's the only sport I've ever been good at. And I don't know any other sports metaphor, but it's true. You can't do this alone. We pray together, we eat together, we mourn together. That's what we do. That's what it means to be responsible for each other. And the next time you feel alone, remember that there's 25,000 Jews in Milwaukee, and there's 30,000 Jews across the state. There's 7 million Jews in America. There's 7 million Jews in Israel. There's about 1.5 million Jews everywhere else. We're not alone. I want to end by introducing Yad Mordechai. We saw it as one of the communities that was highlighted. And after the initial tragedy, the Jewish Agency came to the American Jewish community and said, there's a lot of people focused on Be'eri and Kfar Aza because they really had Nahal Oz, because there was such tragedy there, but so many of the communities in the south are suffering. And I know that you have a partnership region in the north, but would you take one in the south? Now, I want to tell you something about the north. Missy mentioned the mission that we were on. We saw a school that didn't exist there in September. But they had so many students who are living now in hotels that they built a school in 1 month for 800 kids who were from all different communities. And our community helped fund that. And so when they came to us and they said, would you adopt another community? Our community said yes. And we adopted Yad Mordechai, who, when we visited them in March, wasn't sure if 2/3 of their community was going to come back and what it would mean for their kibbutz. And so I'd like to share with you a message from our community that's our partner from Yad Mordechai. Thank you.
Hello, Milwaukee. Shana Tova. My name is Raya Pasi, and I'm a member of Kibbutz Yad Mordechai. I was born here and was raised here, raised my family here. And now I want to tell you two things, in a matter of fact, about Kibbutz Yad Mordechai. There is a very rich history to the kibbutz, but I want to focus today on two events that has some shocking similarity. Kibbutz Yad Mordechai was founded first in the center of Israel, near Netanya, in 1936. In 1943, the people of the kibbutz has decided to move here to this current location. They wanted to work the land, which is a large space here, and to be next to the border in order to keep the border safe and stop evil to come into the state of Israel. On Independence Day, War of Independence, the army of Egypt, the Egyptian army, tried to invade Israel. They invaded Israel, in a matter of fact, and they wanted to, their aim was to get to Tel Aviv. The point was that on the way, they've met this kibbutz. In the kibbutz, there were about 100 people at the time, and they fought here against the Egyptian army, which was equipped with heavy armory and tanks and many soldiers. And they stood here for 6 days, stopping these forces from coming into Israel. These 6 days allowed the Israeli army to get organized and stop the Egyptians before they got to Tel Aviv. The people of the kibbutz were evacuated after 6 days, leaving this place empty. The Egyptian army came in, destroyed everything, and after a year, the kibbutz members came back and restored everything. So this was the first event. On October 7th, 2023, the Hamas terrorists invaded Israel on 6:30 in the morning from different parts of the Gaza Strip. I want to show you the map of this area. This is the Gaza Strip, the one in the white. You can see here Rafah, Khan Yunis, Deir al-Balah, Gaza City, and Jabalia and Beit Hanun. Yad Mordechai is the red spot on top. We are about 1.5 to 2 miles from the border. The main attack of the Hamas at that day was here, the kibbutzim on the east side of the Gaza Strip. But some forces enter Netiv HaSara, which is just 1 kilometer from us to the south, and they started to go on the main road to Tel Aviv. Yad Mordechai is located on the main road, Route 4, on the way to Tel Aviv. They came to our fences and tried to enter the kibbutz, and some of them were on motorcycles going on the main road north. The squad team of Yad Mordechai was alert. They were notified that something is going on, and they spread all over the kibbutz, all over the fence, ready to meet the enemy. With the help of soldiers and the squad teams of Yad Mordechai, they succeeded to stop the terrorists on the fences. They didn't enter the kibbutz. They were killed outside the kibbutz, and the terrorists on motorcycles that were heading to the north were stopped by the army on the main road. And the day later, when people left the kibbutz, go to the center, they still saw the motorcycles and the bodies of the terrorists lying on the main road. This event stopped the Hamas from entering main cities in Israel. In their maps that were found after they were killed, there were the target of Ashdod, Ashkelon, Tel Aviv. They had a plan to go inside Israel. So these two events show, in my opinion, the bravery of the people of the kibbutz, who will never leave and never give the enemy the opportunity to conquer this place. The similarity of these two events, I think, is shocking, but show the strength of these people not to let the enemy do whatever they want. And in a final note, I want to wish you a Shana Tova and have a very interesting Ushpezin on Sukkot. Bye-bye from Yad Mordechai.
אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, בחר את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו, הגן עליה בעברת חסדך, ובחוס עליה סוכת שלומך. ושלה רוחך ועמיתך לרשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך. חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קדושנו, והנחילם אלוהינו, יהושע צאתך, ניצחון תיעתכם, ונחת שלום בארץ, ושמחת עולם ליושביה. ואת אחינו כל בית ישראל, פקד נא בכל ארצות זוריהם, ותוליכם ממערה, קוממיות לציון יחרה, ולירושלים משכן שמך, ככתוב בתורת משה עבדך. אם יהיה נידחיך בקצה השמיים, משם יקבצך אדוני אלוהיך, ומשם יקרך ויביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר ירשו אבותיך, וירשת, ויטיבך, וירבך מאבותיך. ויחד לבנינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולשמור את כל דברי תורתך. ושלח לנו מהרה בן דוד מושיע צדקך, לפדות מחכה קץ יהושעתך. ופע בהיעדר גאון עוזך על כל יושבי תבל ארצך, ויאמר כל אשר נשמה באפו, אדוני אלוהי ישראל מלך, ומלכותו בכל משלה. אמן סלה.
For the prayer of the soldiers and the hostages, please rise. משברך אבותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו, מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה, ביבשה, באוויר ובים. יתן אדוני את אויבינו, הקמים עלינו נגיפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם, ועטרם בכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון. ויקוים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני אלוהיכם, ההולך עמכם להילחם, לכם עם אויביכם, להושיע אתכם, ונאמר אמן.
Before every event we planned this year, we carried hope in our hearts that by the time the event took place, the hostages would be home, and we would not need to say any prayer for their return. Today, a year later, with our hearts shattered to pieces, we once again offer a prayer for the return of all the hostages to their families. We are thinking of each one of them today. As you leave tonight, we invite you to take a poster with the image of a hostage so that we do not allow ourselves to forget them for even a moment. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וישמור וינצור את השבויים בתוך שאר אחינו בית ישראל הנתונים בצרה ובשביה. בעבור שהקהל מתפלל בעבורם, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם ויוציאם מחושך וצל מוות ומוסרותיהם ינתק וממצוקותיהם יושיעם וישיבם מהרה לחיק משפחותיהם. יודו לאדוני חסדו ונפלאותיו לבני אדם, ויקיים בהם מקרא שכתוב, ופדויי אדוני ישובון, ובאו ציון ברינה, ושמחת עולם על ראשם, ששון ושמחה ישיגו, ונסו יגון והנחה, ונאמר אמן.
Tekiyah. The sound of the shofar brings us together as a community. And then it shatters in Shevarim. And yet each day goes on. My name is Mark Shapiro. I'm honored to be the president and CEO of the Harry and Rose Sampson Family, JCC, even more so to just be a member of this amazing Jewish community. And I invite all of my fellow Jewish community professionals, all of those of you who spend your days as professionals in our Jewish community, to please join me up front as a part of concluding our ceremony. These professionals, that wasn't rhetorical, I actually want you to come up here with me, otherwise I'm singing the anthems by myself. Up on stage or in front, but everyone, please. These professionals, even when the shofar was not blown, answered the call. Every day, they devote countless hours and unwavering energy to ensure we have the care, the resources, and the support we needed during this difficult time. The steadfast commitment and compassion have served as a guiding light of hope and strength for us all. Whether organizing events, providing emotional support, coordinating resources, simply just being there, being the ear and the mitzvah of hearing the sound of the shofar. You see, today is October 7th. We are here and we are together. But our preschools were filled with hope this morning. Our fitness floor had people working out. Breakfast was served at Ovations just like it is every morning. And there were people living in our JFS communities. Minyanim were happening in the community. And it was October 7th. And on October 8th, the Jewish community pantry will serve food, and we will do it all again. There is hope. It is here in our community every day. On October 6th, it was there. It is October 7th. It is here. On October 8th, it will be there because we sound the shofar and we answer. Today is October 7th. It's Miriam's birthday. It really actually is Miriam's birthday. And if there's a small little laugh, then we are a community that is resilient and filled with hope. We will continue to teach our children about our past and a hopeful future. We will continue to do what we do. We will answer the Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Bazeh. We will never stop answering it. Please join this amazing group of people in the Star Spangled Banner, and rather fittingly, Hatikva. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
Hatifarat Shnot Alpayim Liotam Chofshi Be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim Liotam Chofshi Be'artzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim.
Tonight, we have journeyed together through a spectrum of emotions, from grief and remembrance to hope and renewal. We have honored the past, supported one another, and embraced the possibility of a brighter future.
We are deeply moved by the unity and the resilience displayed here tonight. This evening has reminded us of the extraordinary strength of our community, the way it binds us in moments of sorrow and lifts us up towards hope and healing. As we move forward, our mission is clear: to continue supporting one another with the same spirit of solidarity and care that has defined this gathering. Let us carry with us the sense of connection we have nurtured here and commit to being a source of strength and encouragement for one another. In the days and the months ahead, may we remember that our community is a source of profound strength. When challenges arise, let us turn to each other for support. And when we celebrate, may we share in that joy together.
As you leave tonight, please take a yahrzeit candle and a card with the name of a victim of October 7th. We encourage you to light the candle on the evening of Wednesday, October 23rd, the Hebrew anniversary of October 7th. When you do, please think about the specific victim. There are yellow ribbons on the fence on Santa Monica that were knit by community members. Feel free to take one home to help you keep the hostages close to your heart. As a community, we will mourn, remember, and hope that our next community gathering will be for more joyous events. We conclude tonight with messages from our former shlichim and shinshinim. Please stop by our interactive exhibits on your way out. Erev Tov.
Hi everyone, my name is Alina Esh. I was the first Shinshin. The last 11 years I lived in Birmingham, UK. And 2 months ago we moved back to Israel. Actually the war was, October 7 was the trigger, and we really needed and wanted to be home, close to our friends and family. And it was great to come back. Everyone is really kind and supportive, lots of friends, and my family is here. And it feels quite quiet at the moment, lots of noise on TV, but just to avoid as much as I can. And I work in 2 jobs now. I'm a physiotherapist, and my daughter started school and she's adapting to the new life, and she's having a great time, and we're happy to be back in Israel. And I want to wish all of you Chag Sameach, Shana Tova, and hopefully we all let's pray together for a quiet year. Thank you. Lots of love to all.
Hey guys, it's Mower here. I'll give you a quick update about how we're doing. So me, my family, and my close friends, we're doing okay. Obviously, been going through a rough year, spending several months in Miluim, and losing some friends and people that we know, and also a lot of uncertainty with what's going to happen in the near future and even after. So not the best times, obviously. And I want to thank you all for your support, for sending messages. It really warms our heart and make us feel better when we know that you're with us. So thanks a lot for that. And I just wish us all better times, quiet, being safe, and that the hostages will be back as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your support.
Shalom, Keilat Milwaukee. I'm Nir Barkin. Used to be a shaliach 21 years ago in the community. October 7th will forever be a day in the Jewish calendar and in the general calendar of agony, of sadness, of remembrance, and of hope. October 7th, like September 11 and other dates in the Jewish calendar and the general calendar, are an opportunity for us to look for the future and build a better future for the children of the Jewish people and the people of the world. The children next to me have parents who serve in the front line in Gaza. And together with them, we protect our nation here and where you live. And we're very hopeful that this tikva, this hope, will build again the resilience and the strength and the uplifting moments of all of us.
Milwaukee Mishpuche, hi. I miss you guys very much. It's been 10 years exactly since we left Israel for Shlichut, and definitely an event that changed our lives. I just want to say thank you for being there for us. We know that you guys root for us all the time. We feel the love, we get the messages, we get the phone calls, and we love being in touch with our extended family. We feel part of a big Jewish peoplehood, thanks to you. And I hope to see you guys soon. Maybe I'll come visit in May. And in the meantime, I just wanted to wish you Shana Tova, to say that Am Yisrael Chai, and that I hope this awful year exchanges itself with a much better one this year. Amen, amen, amen. Love you.
Hi everyone, this is Ga. I've been a former Shinshin in Milwaukee between 2021 and 2022, the best Jewish community around the world. And I would like to share a short message about October 7th. So when I was a little girl, my parents told me there's going to be no army when I grow up, everything's going to be peace. And little did I know that when I'm going to be 21, as a soldier and as a commander in the IDF, I'm going to face these tough times and these horrible events of October 7th. But I want to tell you guys, I've never been prouder to be Jewish, to be Israeli. And I ask you guys to not be afraid, to stand tall and be who you are. Show that you're Jewish. Show that you are proud to love Israel. We need your support. It counts, and we see all of your love and all of your help. Please continue doing that. It means a lot to me, a lot to us as a Jewish people all around the world. I want to focus on the good things that I've learned since this war had occurred. Help one another. Be there. And I want to mention Nir, Shai, and Shakid that fell from my school. May their memory be a blessing. Love you guys and hope to see you soon.
Shalom everyone, and thank you all for coming to support Israel today. I will never forget the amount of love and hugs and support that I've got from each one of you after October 7th. Being far away from home was really scary for me, and you all made me feel home and safe. Now that I'm home, surrounded with my family and friends, I'm still keeping in my heart all of the hostages who needs to return home because now they're not safe. I want to commemorate my friends Tomer Leibovich, Dov Vadia, and Eyal Shaines, Zichronam Livracha, who fought for my country and defended Israel. I want to say to all of you, please stay united, support each other, and be there for each other. Thank you all for coming today again. Sending all of my hugs and heart to Milwaukee. See you soon.